So at the weekend we had some brand new images released for the upcoming Alien Covenant. Obviously a few of the other channels have already done their videos on these, but I wanted to give my thoughts out to you all and hopefully share some ideas on what these may show in relation to the actual movie. The main ones I wanted to talk about were the ones showing the engineer or humanoid city as David looks out over the crowds and throngs of these beings. The mutagen canisters containing the black goo accelerant loom ready to be dropped. We can see the civilization below and the depth of detail is incredible. The Hall of Heads in the top right corner is a focal point to this city, again showing just how much respect they hold for this apparently historical place. This is where David is said to set up his laboratory. I would say initially this is due to some sick irony and his sense of humour, but also out of necessity. The massacre that happens is directly outside of this building. If David is conducting experiments in this building, he is more than likely wanting to be close to the bodies so he doesn't have to travel a massive distance. His time can be better served in his mad scientist role. The canisters in this shot do indeed look identical to the ones in Prometheus, the ones we see stacked up high in the dormant juggernauts. Why they apparently explode in a gaseous form and douse their victims is open for pure speculation. Perhaps this was always their intention when released in such a way. I said it recently in my greatest step breakdown, but I believe the structure to the left vertically downwards is in fact the mother juggernaut. It's the structure we had seen initially in the Empire magazine leaks. It appears that this is potentially a docking facility. The fact the juggernaut David is piloting seems to be in direct proximity to this. I think he may have docked with it or activated it in some way. It's a real mystery as to what the purpose of this vehicle serves. It's upended, has no discernible cockpit like the juggernauts, and seems to just hang there in the sky. Again, down below, we can see the humanoids gathering. If they are not engineers, then they definitely know of this technology. They appear to gather as if waiting for something. Clearly, they were not waiting for their deaths. So, I wonder what relationship they have with this technology. One thing I really do love is just the detail they have put into the city below. We can see buildings, architecture, roads, pillars and statues. I honestly can't wait for them to explore this city and hopefully it isn't just a throwaway aesthetic or visual. Next, we have the high-res version of the image leaked from Empire magazine. We see David unleashing the canisters of accelerant, the Black Death payload on the unwitting victims below. From the last picture to this one, we can see there are many more humanoids gathered below. If zooming in on this image, we can see David's blonde hair clearly. A lot of people had suspected this to be Shaw, however, this all but confirms it to be David. I can't help but wonder what his motives are behind this massacre. Why the sudden Holocaust event? Genocide of a race. I'm really hoping this isn't some simple curiosity or vendetta motivation. For me, the beauty of David's character was in his depth, his ambiguous nature, innocence almost. Now he's free, will this continue? The trope of evil android is overplayed and I'm hoping Ridley knows this. Many people have questioned why the race below only seem to have one city on the whole planet. It isn't confirmed if this is the sole city and colony. However, one theory that would make sense is that the race below, if they are not engineers but worshipped them for whatever reason, this primitive race would build their civilization surrounding those that they revere as gods, their technology, their ships, almost a holy city. We see the mother juggernaut hovering above this city and the ground has opened up, so it would appear there is engineer technology here. It may be that some of this is remnants left behind and these people built their world around it, their gods at their centre. We also get a fantastic shot of Walter, or possibly David, aboard the Covenant checking through the cryopods. A lot of speculation here on whether this is Walter or David, however, he is in the same uniform we see him wearing during the trailers, whilst they are all together prior to hypersleep. I believe this to be Walter. What he has found is a mystery. This may perhaps be a cryopod where Captain Branson, James Franco's character, is sleeping, and this is potentially something faulty, mechanically or even sabotage, which may lead to his ultimate death and how Oram, Billy Crudup's character, assumes his role as captain. It's a great shot though, and the detail in this set is superb, intricate and well designed. It just makes me even more eager to see what they have in store for us in the film. Back to another Walter image, or is that David again? If it is Walter, it will be pretty late in the film by the looks of it. He appears damaged, as if he's had a form of surgery. Now, I know a lot of people seem to think that David is the creator of the Xenomorph, the species as a whole. I will say that although I think David has created the aliens we will see in Covenant, I believe he is in fact not the creator of the species. A few things to note that contradict this theory: the mural in Prometheus. Many people say it's a deacon. Unfortunately, that can't be the case due to the fact the deacon was born through extremely convoluted means. It would imply that the engineer race either went through exactly the same process to create one, or they prophesized the coming of a deacon. To me, neither option is appealing, and I believe the mural is simply a xenomorph. The other main reason David couldn't create the alien race, it would retcon a well-established and accepted age to the derelict on LV-426, which would be a really big FU to the fans. The derelict, as described in Alien, is fossilized, thousands of years old. Ridley Scott has said that we will explore the origins of the xenomorph. He didn't say we would see the origins. He did also state that we will be surprised who created the alien, and if we think it's the engineers, then we are dead wrong. Everyone jumped the gun, and a theory was floating around that the biomech alien is created through incorporating synthetic DNA or parts. As much as this theory has some promise, to me it would be a really bad and needless retcon. It also shrinks the universe and removes the mystery behind the xenomorph. So to this end, do I think this scar is from a fight with David where he uses Walter in an experiment? No. I do, however, think that David and Walter have an altercation, and I do think this is from that fight. I've done a video on how I think David will survive Covenant, and I think this ties directly into that nicely. We see the horrifying Neomorph next, during its feeding on a crew member, this being the fully grown or at least partially grown version. The size of this creature is terrifying, and one thing I hadn't noticed from the low-res image is that the Neomorph has its tail wrapped around the crew member's legs, constricting it. Maybe this is also an offensive means to take down and incapacitate its prey. Either way, I cannot wait for this to play out on the screen. To end this video, I wanted to discuss the picture of Weyland and what we have been led to believe is David. This is apparently an early scene showing David coming online. The symbolic nature of this scene I think will be high. David is in white, symbolic of a pure being, innocent in his birth. Wayland, wearing dark green, two opposing and contrasting colours and potentially ideologies. Perhaps we will see for ourselves Wayland imprinting onto David. How he shapes his son into the future David we see, the son that will lead him to his death at the hands of those he thought would save him. I think this scene will hold some high significance as to David's motives and potentially thought processes later in the film, which is why I think this will be shown early on as a setup for us to understand why David initiated the genocide of the race on the planet. So there were some more images released, but these were the main ones I wanted to discuss as I have had some time to process and gather my thoughts. What did you think about these pictures though? Did they fill you with confidence? Is there anything I mentioned speculation or theory wise that resonates with you? Or do you have any counter theories? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please drop them down below. And if you did enjoy this video, then please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more in the future. If you think this video is worth it and you want to support the channel, then please head on over to my Patreon page. The link is in the description box. I've been Mr. H, and until next time, I'll catch you in the comment section.